All right, so those of you that have been playing along at home may be familiar with my brake bleeding issues. I posted a video a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember if I made it public or not until recently, but I posted a video a couple of weeks ago about my brake bleeding issues. I continue to have issues with this. I spent 2 hours per session for 3 days straight bleeding this, both with my vacuum line on the master cylinder and on each of the calipers, with the vacuum, with the pump crack, with just a slow pump, with the bleeder cracked open and pump all the fluid through it. I pumped probably 3 reservoirs per bleeder through this thing. Felt pretty good, but after sitting for a little bit, still squishy. I get like some resistance here, but it comes back to the bars. It shouldn't do that. This is, as you can see there, 19 by 18. So reading online, the real firm brake lever that you feel will be a 19 by 20. It's got a little bit harder initial bite. It's got a little more firm feel, the 19 by 18. I bought this one because it was a little bit cheaper, not because I particularly cared that it was 18 millimeter fulcrum instead of 20, but apparently that gives you more lever movement here, which makes sense. It's a standard class 2 lever. So you get a little more lever movement here, which lets you modulate the brakes better. Apparently a lot of racers like the 19 by 18 better because it gives you more feel and a little finer adjustment without some real hard initial bite. But it did feel pretty firm, and now it's still real squishy again. If I back the lever all the way out, it gets real firm. It's not like squishy like it comes all the way back to the lever. It's just a lot of movement for it to come back here. As you can see, I don't have big hands, so that's a real big reach for me. So my other option is to just leave it somewhere out here where I have to reach for it. Being that I have smaller hands, I would prefer it be somewhere in here closer. But anyways, because of my bleed issues I've been having with this, as you can see, I got a new cap for my reservoir. I drilled a 1/2-inch hole in it, ran down to AutoZone, and got a Schrader valve, got a tire valve, and put on there. So the plan is to pump this up, 15, 20 psi, something reasonably low. I've already tested it, and it does hold pressure, but we're gonna pump a little bit of air into this, and we're gonna crack the bleeders down below on both calipers and up here. To get to this one, I have to undo this bolt to kind of move this to the side so I can get the hose on there, just because of how this is all real tight. But we're gonna do that. We're gonna see if that helps at all. I rode it. I put 50 miles on it this week, and the brakes felt pretty good all along. I'm just trying to get better lever feel. I may not be able to, like I said, because of the 19 by 18. Anybody who has any experience with the 19 by 20 versus 19 by 18, chime in down below. Let me know. Let me know if I'm missing something. Let me know if I have unrealistic expectations. You guys, a lot of you guys know better than I do. So if you know, and you actually know, not just running your mouth and telling me what an idiot I am, that's fine too. I'm sure I'll get a fair amount of that down in the comments, and that's fair. I am an idiot, but talk to me down below. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, or if I'm doing anything wrong, or if this is fine. And I'll bleed this one last time, and then I'm gonna try to commute to work on it this week, get some more miles on it, just see how it feels more long term. It's a little bit tough riding around to kind of gauge the brakes, riding around in traffic, because I use a whole lot of engine braking for my braking, and in traffic, going from 25 miles an hour to a stop, I can engine brake all the way down without hitting the brakes until I come to a complete stop. So I really need to take it for a good ride out in the country and hit some curves, so that I can have some reason to actually brake. But yeah, talk to me down low. Let's pump this up, and we're gonna get this baby blood one more time. Okay, so initial impression, I've got speed bleeders on my calipers. The pressure that I put up into there is not enough to push it down through here without hitting the brake lever. So we're gonna try and pump it up maybe a little bit more. Let's see if that'll give me a little more flow. I didn't get any bubbles. I just got I don't know if you could really tell in this lighting. I just got fluid, but we'll run it through. See what we can get. All right, so I've got the reservoir pumped up to I think my gauge there said 50 psi, which is more than I intended to, but hopefully it'll be enough to get this going. Oh yeah, it's running down real fast up there. So I'm gonna have this ready to. Let's close this off so I don't run dry up there. Didn't get any bubbles out of here. Some say this one's good. As you can see, I got a good amount of fluid flushed through it. Yeah, so we're gonna call this side good. All right, we're on the other side here. We got, again, got it hooked up. I have the reservoir pressurized up to a little over 50. Let's crack this open, and I'm anticipating just getting a whole bunch of fluid here and no bubbles. But we're gonna do it anyway. And then we'll do the master cylinder bleeder. And there it goes. Yeah, just fluid down here. Whole thing flushed through. Oh, I see a problem with my idea. You guys may be able to see, well, you probably can't see that from where you're at. A little bit of fluid leaking around the tubing right there, which I don't know, I wondered if that was gonna happen. There you go, you can see it's wet. It's coming out from the tubing right there. Which is okay, because it's not like leaking, it's just a little blurb. Oh, uh-oh. But you're about to blow that off. That's no bueno. Well, several of you probably predicted this, but my bike got a surprise bath today because where it was leaking under that hose right there blew off under pressure and sprayed brake fluid everywhere. So if you're gonna do this, only go up to about 15 or 20 psi. I think that's probably plenty. I got a little overzealous in my attempts to get it bled, but got the bike cleaned up. I was gonna give it a bath before MotoGP and hand built anyway, but you can see where it landed on there. Even just on the couple of minutes it was on my paint, it screwed it up, which is okay. This is cracked and needs to be replaced and or repainted anyway. But we're gonna bleed the master one more time, and then I'm just gonna call it good and put some miles on it. So I will update. All right, so to reiterate, apologies for the dryer noise. Got a new cap, separate cap for my brake reservoir. Drilled a 1/2-inch hole, put a Schrader valve in there. Just picked up at AutoZone for $3 for a 2-pack. Pressurize this. Do not do it any higher than 15 to 20 psi. It's probably more than enough. I did it way too high and it blew off, made a big freaking mess. Y'all can laugh at me down in the comments. Pressurize the system. Crack open the bleeder valves, make sure you don't have any air. You can also use that to flush your whole system. So now I've got all new brake fluid in here, with the exception of whatever might be kind of hanging out down in the calipers. Bled both calipers, bled this. I also took some Teflon tape and took that bleeder valve all the way out and wrapped 5 or 6 wraps of Teflon tape around it, just to get a real good seal so that when you're vacuum bleeding, it's not sucking air in around. When you're pressure bleeding, it's only pushing through the valve and not around it. Lever feels better. I've still got quite a bit of play, or quite a bit of take up on it before I get too much. But again, I'm gonna put some miles on it. We're gonna see what kind of feeling it has at speed. Kind of difficult to really gauge how good it is cruising at 25 miles an hour with the engine braking I do. So I'll have to take it for a couple of, I'll have to take it and write it in anger and see what it feels like. I mean, they don't fail. They haven't failed yet as far as like, you know, not gripping. But we'll see what I can figure out. If you guys have any comments, suggestions, know of anything I missed, just want to laugh at me, comments are open down in the doobly-doo. I think that's it for now. I'm gonna get this cap swapped off and we'll get rolling. Get some miles on this bad boy. Oh, one more thing. A lot of you probably will have commented about this tubing down here. On the previous setup, this was just a strip of clear tubing. It didn't have clamps on it, and that was because with this reservoir that came with it, the tubing was different, and the clamps that came with it were these same clamps, but they were not tied on this at all, even with it here on the barbs, which is why I didn't have it on there to begin with. With the second reservoir that I bought, came with, I don't know, the tubing looks the same, but it appears to be a little bit thicker, and the clamps are a little tighter. So it fits on there a little bit tighter, a little bit better. We are clamped on there now. You know, not super tight, but tight enough. That should give me a little bit more security on there. Yeah, so I'm happy with how this looks and came together. I was able to just bend my old mount down to be in a different position to hold that, where it's not just sticking up wildly. I like it kind of tucked down a little closer to that, and that's about as low as I could get it. So I'm happy with how that came together. Got new throttle cables put on here. I can't remember if I posted a video about these. I had the V-Strum ones that came off at a different angle here and were way long and looped up and around. These are Motion Pro 4-inch overstock. They're still too long. I reached out to them about some plus 2-inch. They said we don't make those. It's going to cost way too much money to make a pair. So I might try to cut down those DL650 ones and see if I can cut them down a couple inches shorter than these. That'll pull this in a little tighter yet, because even like all the way over, there's still quite a bit of extra there. Really, the stock ones were only about an inch shy, so I don't know. Something else to play with. At any rate, that is all for the brakes for now. We're gonna put some miles on it. I'll keep you guys posted. Let me know what I missed down in the comments. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Later.
So update a little while later. Two things. One, I don't know that I'm super impressed with this. The keen-eyed of you looking at this might notice there's no knob here. I have about a tank and a half of gas through this, so maybe 200 miles. And the pin that holds the knob on here fell off. I went to adjust this and it was just free spinning on there. So thankfully I was able to save the knob, and I've got it, and I'm gonna have to look for another pin. But I'm not super impressed with that. The feel is okay. I rode it all weekend during MotoGP weekend this past weekend, and it handled really, really well. It kind of petered out toward the end of the weekend and got real squishy, and I could bring it all the way back. It's real firm here. As you can see, I've got a fair amount of lever pull on here. It does get real firm. It won't come all the way back. While I was riding it, it did feel pretty firm. Even just like pulling it here, the brakes would bite and the front end would dive a little bit. So it's got a lot of adjustment, a lot of modulation here, which kind of gives it a lot of feel, which I like a whole lot better than the stock brakes or even the GSX-R one. Gonna ride it some more. By the time the weekend was over, this came all the way back. Got almost no front bite, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. It worked great until like Sunday afternoon. I was like, what the hell is going on? So I tried to bleed it again, and I didn't get a whole lot of traction trying to bleed it until I took the cap off. And then it occurred to me that part of what is going on, and some of you may interact with this with cheap parts as well, some of what was going on was that as I was pumping this, it was creating a vacuum in this. This has the rubber boot in there that goes down to kind of fill it and keep air from coming in, but there's nothing on the top to let air in, so it's creating a vacuum, and it can't suck air in, or can't suck fluid rather in, to push down through the system. So I bled it really well, again with the lid off, and here we are. It's reasonably firm. Like I said, a lot of travel. I've got a fair amount of travel before it really starts to bite. Once it starts to bite, it's got a fair amount of modulation and bites, and it's firm. So what I did just now was drill a little hole in there. Little bitty tiny hole. Like I said, this does have the rubber beneath the cap down here to protect it from air. But now it's got a way for air to come in as this fluid level goes down, as the brake pads wear down and everything kind of settles, and it does, breaky things. It's got a way for air to come in on top of that and keep it from creating a vacuum in here. So I think that's part of my problem. We're going to put some more miles on it and see if that is the solution. And I will update you guys again soon. I just wanted to tack that on to the back end of the video. I had recorded the rest of this video, probably close to 2 months ago now. It's been a while. I've been busy. But just wanted to update you guys. That may be a solution for something you guys are dealing with. If you are having issues with your brakes not working on your motorcycle. So we'll see how this Brembo goes long term. I'll keep you guys updated. That is it for now. Hopefully this is helpful to somebody at some point in the future.